Hello, hello, hello. AI, friend or foe, is the topic that I wanted to cover in today's quick pop up live event. But before we dive in, if you're now tuning in, please type in the chat if you're using AI in any shape or form today, and perhaps share which AI platform you are most leaning into or most frequently using. And while you are doing that, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, my name is Vessi Kapulian. I'm a former commercial lender turned real estate investor and advisor and entrepreneur. Today, I help family offices, business owners, and high achieving professionals invest passively in apartments in well-vetted cash flowing deals. And I also help investors with the deal diligence and deal review process that I briefly talked about in my latest newsletter, as well as my last live event. And lastly, for those willing to do a deeper dive into the numbers, I help them learn how to analyze deals with confidence and ease. So, about a week or so ago, I post, or a friend of mine shared a post of a video that was created by Google Veil 3, and it was scaringly amazing. It was amazing because it looked so real. And if you're interested, let me know. I'll send you the link via DM, since I'm not quite sure if I can play it appropriately without breaking the live stream here. And scary at the same time, because for me it raises a lot of questions, questions around ethics and values and the potential misuse of AI. AI is here to stay, right? And unfortunately, there are a lot of apps now that are popping up where they're taking off your images of social media and effectively undressing you, or perhaps someone using your images and your voice to create campaigns where they're soliciting other people for money. And I also saw another app recently which was appalling, but basically job candidates training AI to answer interview questions for them while they're watching TV, or I don't know, eating potato chips in their pajamas during the interviews. And 60 Minutes actually had a recent show on some of the ethical concerns that the misuse of AI is generating. And someone I follow, Mo Gadat, actually had quite a few talks on the topic and important questions on ethics and intelligence misuse and so forth. So definitely scary if you think about it. So then the next question I ask myself, okay, what can you do about it, right? And like I said, I don't think AI is a fad, right? It's here to stay. So you don't fight the market, you don't fight that trend. But what can you do about it? At least for now, it's still not quite perfect in recognizing hand gestures and movements, nonverbal language that only you can do. And that's actually one reason why I like doing lives as well as connecting with people in person, because creating that fake image is kind of hard to do during a live event, at least for now, right? There will be a day when I'm sure AI will advance much, much further than that. And I think in person interactions will become even more so important now than ever. I in my newsletters and in other live events and other publications, I often highlight the importance, for example, when it comes to investing, the importance of connecting with the lead sponsor or the lead fund manager in person, having multiple interactions before you make that investment, speaking to other live people in your network about them and getting references. So I think that will be more important than ever. And then the other piece too is education. Now, education is something I'm very passionate about and that I help a lot of investors with. But the power of education, especially in situations like that, is to help you distinguish the facts and the signal from the noise. So at least for now, AI is still known to make mistakes. And so, for example, you uploading a deck into AI and asking it to analyze or summarize certain points doesn't mean it will do that with 100% accuracy. So it's still imperative that you review its work and be able to identify those variances, inaccuracies, or gaps. But you wouldn't be able to do that, right, if you don't have the proper education, if you're just taking its word verbatim. Of course, it is not all bad, right? AI has a lot of benefits and primarily centered around eliminating a lot of the repetitive, mundane, administrative tasks. So it can free up time for us to utilize our time based on the highest and use of our skills and focus more on leaning in deeper, right, into intellectually stimulating tasks and leaning in deeper into our intellectual capacity versus the more repetitive projects. And I come across more and more investors, right, who are learning how to train AI. I'm still haven't quite started that process, but definitely it is something I would like to do, to develop a mini me, right? And a lot of them are training AI to review investment offerings and private placement memorandums, similar to what AI is already actually doing today with commercial lease abstracts in the retail space. There are already a lot of tools out there that are doing that. So carrying over a similar concept when reviewing other investment offering memorandums or decks, or there are underwriting programs like Cash Flow Portal, for example, who helps you eliminate a lot of that tedious data entry portion of the underwriting process and does a lot of the parsing of the rent rolls and the T12s. Again, important tasks, but they are what they are, right? Data entry heavy and very repetitive. Or tools like Opus AI, which is one I started using recently for developing short videos and eliminating the tedious task of editing and posting. And it also actually reminds me of when the internet first arrived. So yes, I still remember those days. It had many flaws, right? Data flaws, and people would jokingly say, "Where did you read that?" Ha ha ha, on the internet, right? Unless you went to the library, right, to get the data source from there, you weren't seen as very credible. But over time it did evolve, and today it is being used as a source of research, right? A lot of publications and newspapers and reputable sources are now online, and beyond just research, it has made a lot of things easier for us today, like different applications and e-commerce. So AI is here to stay. It's not a fad, it's still evolving. So it's best if you start learning about it and adopting it now to make your process more efficient, but also so you can more easily spot and recognize those faults and flaws there versus just accepting it as is, as unfortunately a lot of people today are. So I hope today's life was at least helpful for you to raise at least one question that you can ponder more about, and prompts you to take at least one action, and specifically to exercise more diligence and caution. If you do want to participate in future live events, I highly recommend that you ring the bell on my profile. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or simply follow me so you will be notified of those. My next live event is actually going to be on capital calls, and that's based on popular demand. So I have quite a few items that I want to cover to help you think through a capital call situation, which many investors are facing today. And I hope to see you there. Until then, have a blessed day. Ciao.